Welcome to COB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharan Raghavan.
Hi, welcome to COB, Conversations on the Business of Brands. I am Sudeep.
And I'm Sharan.
Okay, Sharan, why does your topic has the word red flag in it? Are you trying to raise some alarm bells? You're trying to scare some companies into becoming your clients?
In a way, but in general, I love talking to entrepreneurs. And I speak to a lot of them, especially the FMCG kind, because that's our industry. So I kind of talk to a lot of very early stage FMCG entrepreneurs. They reach out for advice. And I just like it because they're daring, because there's a sense of romanticism that they have, saying, I will get into this age-old industry and I have what it takes to beat such deep-pocketed incumbents. And that romanticism is lovely to engage with.
Okay, excellent. So far, I can't detect any red flag. Where is the but?
It does come. So
Okay.
when I interact with them, I find their passion to build a fantastic brand, expand distribution, build new teams. It's almost infectious. When I talk to them, the energy is like amazing. So that's what I love about entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And these are no doubt impressive and hold the business in, say, good stead in the long term. However, when I talk to them, I often come across a few red flags, a few things that they mention, which can be very detrimental to their business at this early stage that they're in. I've kind of put down 5 red flags. I'm sure you'd agree with them too.
Okay, let's go.
The first one is the most basic. Not making profits.
Okay.
And FMCG is not a tech business. And most categories are based on consumed across multiple brands. It's a repertoire consumption, like we'd say. And there's no concept of using your LTV to justify your CAC. That's never going to happen in FMCG as much.
Okay. Unless you are getting into a B2B or an institutional kind of a business.
Yes.
Okay.
That's when you make one sale and then you kind of hooked on for a longer term of contract. It doesn't work like that, right?
So basically what you're saying is every unit you sell has to be profitable.
Yes.
Okay.
And the point is, if you can't make profit at a unit level, then the more sale you do, the more loss you're making.
Yeah.
It just beats the purpose of being in business, right?
Fair. Unless there might be some amount of profits that might come because of economies of scale.
Absolutely.
Apart from that, I think you're right that you have to make money on every unit, possibly apart from, initial sampling, etc. that you do.
Right.
Cover your PMF.
Exactly. Because even the volume-based targets that you'll have to hit, right? You've got to understand what economies of scale you're going to get in the business. If I hit 5 tons, what's my profit going to be? When I hit 10 tons, what's my profit going to be? So when you understand that and you clarify that with a supplier or a manufacturer or even your own factory, that will help you set your sales targets, saying what is my volume target to hit to get to a certain profitability.
Okay.
But if you can't make money on a unit level, you're never going to make money.
That's a problem. Okay, fair. So that's the first red flag. What's the second one?
A wide product range. This always alarms me because the entrepreneurs kind of show off the wide product range with pride. And speaking of manufacturing, it's become so easy today. Anything you think of can be made. And when you can make whatever you think of, that gives you a sense of control. In a business where so much is out of control, entrepreneurs kind of seek refuge in what's controllable. And they mistake a large portfolio of products for a large business itself.
So therefore, what you're suggesting is that a focused set of bestsellers, something that gives you decent amount of revenue, is much better than having a fairly large assortment of products, out of which 50, 60, 70% don't sell even the basic amount.
Actually, it's not just 50, 60. It goes up to 90%.
Okay.
doesn't sell and only 10% is selling. So the argument I get back from entrepreneurs is that they need a certain basket size. Yes, they do need a basket size, but there's a difference between having a basket size and having a range of products that entire overwhelms your business.
Correct.
It's going to take away resources. It's going to take away all the money you're making, and you're going to distract you from the core business totally.
The only advice I'll possibly put is that to discover that 10% or 20% that is going to make up bulk of your revenues and profit, you might need to keep expanding the range, and then whatever doesn't work, get rid of it.
Exactly.
So experiment, but you don't need to stick with everything that you experimented with.
Exactly. You must have a fast innovation cycle that what doesn't work goes out and something new is tried, but don't have to keep adding on to your portfolio.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So I'm assuming that now that we are 2 down and only 3 to go, one of them is going to be about trade.
Yes.
Okay.
The lack of trade support. A lot of entrepreneurs say, but trade is not supporting us. So I kind of feel sorry for them sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, why should trade support you? Because distributors and retailers at best can be partners in your business, as in partners in your success. They are not running a charity. They are not obligated to help you. You have to incentivize them and make it worth their while to work with you. And you are going to them seeking their support. So you need to oblige them with what they need. I'm not saying give away all your profits, but you cannot stick to, say, the profits of the market leader and demand the same kind of service from the distributor, because he's got to make money. And a lot of people say, I've appointed distributors and that's how I built my offline distribution. Doesn't work, right? Appointing a distributor is just the start of it. You have got to build every stage of interaction, from the distributor to the retailer to the customer, to the wholesaler. All of this has to be strategically engineered to drive throughput for your product and brand. And that's completely your responsibility to get products off the shelf.
Fair. And you got to work out what you need to give to them so that they extend you the help that you need. And whatever you extend to them could be different from what other players in the market are doing, but it should make sense for your trade and your kind of portfolio. I remember this, Sharan, when early days, ASM days, I used to look at distribution arrangement of various companies. I remember Perfetti had divided their portfolio into P1, P2, P3. And in each portfolio, there was one hero product. So therefore, Center Fresh was given to one. Alpenliebe was given to another. The third had Mentos, the mentholyptus flavor. And then the mint flavor. And then, the other flavors were distributed so that everybody has some lead SKUs, laggard SKUs. Now, P1 was fairly big because they had Center Fresh. And so therefore they had wholesale for great rotation, low margin, great rotation. And so therefore P2 and P3 distributor at that point in time, in some of the geographies I remember, especially Faridabad and I think even Gurgaon also, Perfetti was giving them promise of 24% ROI. So therefore they had said that you invest on our behalf, put a ready stock unit, invest into a good salesman, etc. We will create ROI for you regardless of whether you sell or not. And therefore, they were paying subsidy for ROI.
To guarantee the return on business.
Similarly, I think Cadbury, when we went into mass market for our products, which were 2 rupees and below
5 rupees,
we also were paying what was called as RSU subsidy, ready stock unit subsidy. All of those, I think, are ways of supporting trade partners such that they put the right kind of effort so that you can succeed in the market in the longer run.
Absolutely. You have to buy their support. You got to earn their support in the market.
Fair. Okay. What's the next one, Sharan?
Next one is something, also a bit of a peeve, that people mistake social media following for brand building activities.
Okay.
So a strong social media presence where people are sharing your memes or following your page does not automatically translate into brand equity. The drivers for basically what makes people follow your page and what makes people pick up your product from the store are very different. And if you cannot differentiate the two, you are kind of stuck on the brand building front. You will forever be a sales push driven business. There are community-based brands, but there are very few. There are community-based brands because they talk to a niche, and that niche becomes the early adopters. And the journey of that brand is very different. And they're less than 2% of the FMCG universe, in my opinion. I could be off, but not by too much. Unless you understand where you're building your brand. And you will end up neglecting your actual brand building activities. And social media is also in your hand, right? We keep scrolling, we keep checking. Every like, you get an alert. If whoever's managing your account, you still keep getting alerts. And that is a big distraction for actual brand building activities, in my opinion.
Okay. I would possibly add a little bit to it. So one is that anything that you do on social media, etc., community building is a component to brand building for sure. But it isn't the entirety of brand building. Number two, I also think that depending on what stage of maturity your brand is at, some of these activities will suffice or fall really short. When you're just starting, you're about to, test your PMF, you're still small. I think community should do the job for you. But you would soon outgrow the community, and hence knowing when you're outgrowing your current level of supposed brand building is very important for a founder. And usually brand is something that you invest ahead. And hence it becomes important that you know that stage early enough such that you start investing ahead in time.
Another thing that I notice is that people take their personal brand building and their PR activities to be actual brand building for their business. It's definitely not.
But, as long as you are clear that it is working and you have ways of justifying it, very good. But all we are saying is that all of these activities might help your brand, but might not suffice. And hence, be sure, be clear, and be aware of what stage your brand is at. And then do sufficient brand building such that it helps the brand in the long run. Okay, fair. Exactly. What's the fifth one, Sharan?
Fifth and the last one. So there are a lot of entrepreneurs who get these inquiries from exporters. So I will take your product to Dubai, I'll take it to Sri Lanka, I'll take it to Africa. So this becomes a very, exhilarating moment for the entrepreneur because the volume targets are being met. But these are at best short-term flips in your volume journey. I'm not saying don't do it, but make sure you as the main principle in your business is not getting distracted by this export business. You can't divert your mind into exports saying, I'm going to launch new SKUs for exports. Please don't do that. You got existing products. Exports are good to have when they happen. If you put too much of effort into that, then your actual brand building in your business activities kind of take a beating.
Thankfully, you said do it, because I read it somewhere where somebody said never say no to a paying customer. Doesn't matter where they're coming from. Yeah. Nobody
Absolutely
sane will ever say in business, wrong kind of people are buying our products. Whoever is buying is right. True. So therefore, definitely take the money.
Please, sir.
Never doubt that. But you're right. So it is not just exports. There'll be times where you will discover some unimagined, unexplored areas of large institutional or big sales. There are two ways of processing it. One is to understand that this is a blip, might or might not come back later. Or number two, invest a little bit of time in thinking through and understanding why did this opportunity come your way? Is there a repeatable model there? Okay, excellent. I think this is a good list of 5 red flags. I'm sure there could be many. And if we start counting all the pet peeves that Sharan has, it might make it to 500. But let's keep it at 5. And I hope all the listeners who have listened to these would find this useful. And if there are any more you would like to add to the list, please feel free to tell us.
Thank you for listening to COB, Conversations on the Business of Brands with Sudeep Chawla and Sharan Raghavan. Subscribe and learn more at cobcast.net. That's COBBCAST.net.